What's going on, everybody? It is lunchtime. Lunch with the Clydesdale. We are here again another day. Friday. So excited for that. What's going on, Andrew, Meredith, Jody, Corey? Glad you could all join us. Again, I'm down to that 2-bar thing today, but everything appears to be going okay. Maybe this is just my life now that my wife is back to work, working from home, and maybe taking up some extra bandwidth. But so far, so good. Yesterday was fine. We'll go with it today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate each and every one of you. You can become a member by hitting that join button, and you can be a member for as low as $2.99 a month. And we want to thank Denise Moore for joining this week. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Denise. Man, I'm tired of going into the weekend. I've been doing, our local Goodwill has been in need of people to help out. So I've been going over there doing a couple hours a night, helping unload cars when people bring in donations, sorting those donations, getting them ready to ship out, all of that stuff. So doing that in the evenings a little bit. I'm actually really enjoying it, really enjoying meeting the people and doing a little bit of that to help out. So that's been fun. Going to a concert this weekend. Haven't been to a concert in a while. A friend of mine called and said he won tickets. So we're going to see Buddy Guy, a legendary blues guitarist, at a local venue. It's about an hour outside of Columbus, towards Dayton. So we're heading down there to see Buddy Guy tomorrow night. That should be fun. Yeah. Get away from the CrossFit scene a little bit and enjoy a concert. Haven't been to one in a while. Buddy Guy is still alive. I believe he's in his 90s. And so not going to be many years left to see Buddy. So excited for the opportunity. So what do I want to get into first? Let's talk about the Last Chance Qualifier. I keep refreshing my app to see if more people have signed up. There have been a handful of people who have signed up. Yuko Sakiyama from Japan has signed up. Janie Chevry from Canada. Gemma Hauk. Andreas Solberg from Norway. And Lydia Fish and Lily Burkhead, both from the U.S., have joined the names I read yesterday. So that's starting to stack up on the women's side. On the men's side, less new athletes have signed up, but we do have Luke de Jong. I believe he's from Australia. Riley Martin and Nika Messeradzi. I think those are the only new names that have signed up on the men's side. Corey, I did not say Yu-Gi-Oh! I did not. It just sounded like that. I said Yuko Sakiyama. And I hope I have that right. So a lot of the young athletes are signed up already. I do believe Carolyn's going to do it, but I don't know for sure. But we did find out today, if you listen to Facundo on the Savant podcast, that in fact, Mayhem is kind of running this Last Chance Qualifier. It was him and Angelo DeChico who curated all of the workouts that came in, made sure that they were all tweaked and done to a way that they all fit into one test. And those were the workouts that were released yesterday. I think they're on Instagram. Let me see if I can pull them up for you guys. Sorry, I should have had this one ready. Last Chance Qualifier workouts are right here. If you have not seen them already, it starts with workout 1 picked by Rich Froning. 100 double unders, 10 clean and jerks, 100 double unders, 10 clean and jerks, 100 double unders, 10 clean and jerks, 100 double unders. Time cap 12 minutes. The weights are 205, 225, 245 for the men, 145, 155, 165 for the women. Workout 2 is 3 rounds for time, and this was submitted by Mikel Izquierdo. 34-42 calorie row, 30 burpee over rower, 18 alternating dumbbell snatches. That's 3 rounds for time. 50-70 on the dumbbell. Workout 3 submitted by Alberto Nato. 4x 9, 12, 15 ring muscle ups, overhead squats. And that is 125, 185 on the barbell. Those 3 workouts will have to be submitted by Saturday night at midnight Pacific time. And then these last 2 workouts, they have until Sunday night. As many reps as possible in 7 minutes of 100 wall ball shots, max legless rope climbs in the remaining time. We talked about it in our chat with Jamie and Carolyne. And they definitely had thoughts on legless rope climbs in an online competition, that is very, very difficult to judge, especially in an online competition. They thought it would be a much better workout if it was regular rope climbs. And they think it's going to be too close because a lot of the women will, especially on the women's side, legless rope climbs will clump them together. So we'll see about that. And then workout 5 submitted by Liam Mulligan, 50 toes to bar, 40 front rack walking lunges, 30 strict handstand push-ups, facing out without a garden pad under your head, 50 GHD sit-ups, 40 back rack walking lunges, and 30 wall facing strict handstand push-ups. Time cap 16 minutes, 80 pounds, 115 on the barbell for the lunges. So those are your workouts for the Last Chance Qualifier. The last 2 have to be submitted by Sunday night at midnight Pacific Standard Time. That's 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Andrew Sten said, "Did you catch that, Corey? Subtle, but I'll allow it." I have an alarm going off in my house. I'm going to have to pause the show for just 1 second, and I will be back. Okay, guys, sorry about that. My wife burned her lunch, and the fire department are probably on the way. So, oh boy, what a day. Okay, I've missed all your comments. Hopefully, you guys entertained yourselves for a while. I apologize for all of that. But yeah, you may hear the fire sirens coming. So, super awesome way to start my weekend. This, I think, is like, this will be the fourth time my wife has burnt a dinner and we had the fire department show up at our house. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun day. Hopefully they don't charge us, but should be fun. So there's your last chance qualifier. Those are the people taking part in it this weekend. Hopefully we'll see Carolyne in there. I think she has a good chance. Again, yesterday, Jody, my kitchen is not on fire. Just the food, and it is out. But the smoke lingered. The smoke then set off all the alarms, and here we go. But I think I've got all the alarms off. I got it to stop. So there's an alarm right up my stairs. That one we got taken care of pretty quick. Then there's one upstairs, and then the smoke wafted up the stairs to the second floor. Set that one off. Corey, Jen forgets she's cooking, Scott, kind of a lot. Yeah. It's only her second day back to work. My guess is she put something on the stove and went back and was working and forgot about what she put on the stove. And here we are. So, yeah, always excitement. You don't get this on every podcast. So, if you see flames behind me, just make sure you let me know so I can head out of here. What else do we have? I wanted to talk. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this real quick. We'll go through some fun stuff here. I don't know if you guys saw this, but CrossFit featured our very own Carolyne Prevost in like an ad for the L1. And there she is in her games gear, talking about the benefits of the L1. And you can go through, see all that she had to say. And so I thought that was really cool. Our very own Carolyne Prevost being featured in a CrossFit ad for the CrossFit L1. And it was shared by Carolyne and the CrossFit Games Instagram account. If you want to go check that out, I believe Jamie and I both put it on our stories, so you can see it there as well. So super proud of her for that. We also, in a quick bit hit news, we have word that there's going to be a new American Gladiators. New tagline, lunch with the Clydesdale is on fire. You know it. There's going to be a new American Gladiators. And if you look down here in the lower right-hand corner is the one CrossFitter that was selected to be on American Gladiators, and that is Dani Speegle. I find that fascinating. One, I was a huge American Gladiators fan. When the documentary came out about a year ago, I watched that. I realized that when I was watching that, I'd seen every season of American Gladiators when I was growing up. And I love that show a lot. What I will say is, my prediction is Dani Speegle is going to kick ass on that show. The Gladiators of the past had all of the physique, but not the athleticism. Dani Speegle has great athleticism, And that is going to make her very dominant as an American Gladiator. That is the one I would not want to go up against on this show. But I think that's cool that it's coming. And it's going to be on, it looks like gladiatorstv.com. So it looks like it's going to be a stream show. Other countries have brought it back sooner. This looks like the first time we'll have this back in America. Honestly, this sounds perfect for her. Happy for her. I'm into it. Love American Gladiators. I love American Gladiators, and I know that she has become the poster child for no reps, but she is freaking athletic, man. So athletic, and she's really good. Now, I've never seen. Now, I know in Europe they did this, and the CrossFitters that went to do that in there and in Australia all left the CrossFit scene. It was the end of their CrossFit career. So Lido makes a great point. Is she still doing teams at the games this year? I think she probably could do teams and be fine. I think her individual career is over if this becomes a full-time gig. And again, we don't really know the schedule. It could be like a 6-episode midsummer thing that they tape in the winter. Like who knows? I think it all depends on the schedule, but I think she's going to kick ass in this. She's going to be better at this than she was at CrossFit, and she was pretty damn good at CrossFit. But you take the fitness level and the athleticism that she has outside of this realm that we're in, and she's going to be so much better than some of these people coming in. I think they tried bringing it back from the original, but it didn't take off. I know that there was it was out, it went away for a brief minute, it came back for like a year or two, and then went away. And I don't know if they've ever tried to come out again. Zach George from the UK dropped out of his team last minute, and they didn't know anything when he was announced for Gladiators a couple of years ago. Yeah, I know that was a big stink. And then in Australia, Con Porter was named, Alethea Boone. So there have been CrossFitters that have done this before. Corey said, I would imagine they tape them all pretty close together, spend a fair amount of time editing and adding graphics and whatnot, and then release. And if you see this picture, there's a lot of gladiators being shown. They can rotate those people through where you're only doing a couple shows a year. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I, for one, am super excited to see it come back again. And hopefully it's like they do it as a pretty good event and not just a parody of itself, but an actual like athletic event where you take these people on. I think that would be awesome. It looks like the Wall Street weightlifter on the poster above Dani. I don't think that's who it is, but don't. Yeah, they don't tag anybody in this one. They just tag. Yeah, it looks like that guy is Eric Bugenhagen. Eric Bugenhagen. That is not the Wall Street weightlifter. But yeah, I get where you saw that. All right. So Speegle doing American Gladiator. Surprised Hunter McIntyre isn't on there. Yeah, he tries to do everything. Dude's getting old now, though. All right, so we got that. We got Carolyne. If you guys did not see Dave's interview with Ben Smith, that was really, really good. Really good. It's just one of those walk down memory lanes, how Ben got his gym started, the mistakes he made when he did, what he wishes he did different when he built the new gym. And I just love the fact that those OG CrossFitters were so connected to the whole thing as coaches, gym owners, affiliate owners, athletes. And it looks like Ben is at the ranch when they do the interview. So I'm wondering if Dave had Ben test some stuff for him after Dave saw him at Syndicate Crown. Dude, I watched Ben Smith interview right before this. Great stuff. Yeah, it's only 20 minutes, but really fun. They laugh a lot. There's a great story about mentorship and Ben's kind of first question about owning an affiliate to guys that he was competing with. If you haven't seen it, you need to check that out. Facundo, in addition to talking about the Last Chance Qualifier and curating the workouts for Mayhem, I think that's where we were when the fire alarm went off. Talked about him and Angelo curating them, modifying them to make them fit as one test. That's what they put together. Mayhem is then running this event for CrossFit through the Hustle Up app. And he has said that he's going to be on Savon next Monday when it's all over to kind of break down all of the stuff. So there's all that. Then they got into the sale of CrossFit. And there's a lot of rumors out there that the sale is close. The sale is imminent. The sale, money's already changed hands. All this kind of back and forth. But Facundo does seem to be close to the situation. He would not give any details about that. But he said that Matt Souza was on the right track and that he believes that the sale will be done this calendar year. So sometime before 2026, he believes the sale will be done. And once we get that, and my guess is because the Souza dive into did involve Hustle Up, the app, did involve the owners of B Sport, which own Hustle Up, which owns some apparel companies, some other things like that. To me, it sounds like that's the direction they're going to go, which means that is the group that is close with Froning, and they are close with Facundo then, and they are close to Daniel Chaffee, who is the organizer of the French Throwdown. Those are the names that have been kind of thrown out there as possibly executive people that may be involved with this group. So, but it sounds like it's imminent. And I can't wait for that to happen, because I think the sooner that happens, the more we know about what is to come with the CrossFit Games season for next year. We've all said what we didn't like about this year. It would be really nice to know that we're getting something next year. So, and it'd be nice to get it in a timely manner for a change. And hopefully the new owners do that. but we'll see. I wanted to go back to this NorCal thing. And I think, like, I don't want NorCal to think that I'm picking on them. And that when saying they should not ever be a qualifying event for the CrossFit Games. Corey says, I just said doo-doo. I actually just watched that episode of Friends the other night. Yes, I did. And when I said it, I actually thought that, just so you know, we're on the same. What I want to say is that just as bad as NorCal has been Wodapalooza. Wodapalooza has been the same cluster, the same shit show that NorCal has been. The only big difference is that it hasn't been qualifying someone to the CrossFit Games for the past few years. Some of the things they did in the weather and the rain was pure insanity at Wodapalooza. By making the beach floor, by doing it on the beach. Now at the new location, there was some crazy stuff last year. I think they are just as outside the box as NorCal, and it's a huge community event, and they get huge attendance at the place. So I don't want to say that they shouldn't be doing it. We seem to forgive them more because they're not the qualifier to the CrossFit Games. Where NorCal did the exact same stuff, but because of those tickets to the games, we got butthurt a lot more about what they did there. And I do believe that's rightfully so. I want them to exist. I do think they're fun to watch. But I don't want them deciding the qualifiers for the games. I think when we've been trashing NorCal, we've just been specifically talking about them. There are other events in the space that do the same crazy stuff, and we don't say much about, but it's because they're not the qualifier. And I just want to make sure that I iterate that out there, that they're not alone in my criticism. They're just the only ones that had qualifications to the games. So, the issues are NorCal were accentuated because of what happened tonight. The same stuff happens at Wodapalooza all the time. If you remember, the team of Hopper and Dallin and Ricky did extra stuff in the one event because their ref didn't count right. Brent Fikowski was hitting his head off of the stands because of where his rower was placed. I mean, it's been a shit show and screwed up events and screwed up points for events. It's just nobody was qualifying for the games. They were just playing for money. So, but Nate should be going to the game. Slightly different scenario. But I think you could say that about a lot of events that have come down to a judging call. I mean, I would say on the same side, on the women, you could argue that Carolyne should be going to the games, that the cap was not appropriate for the last event. We never got to see Hattie or Carolyne lift that last bar to determine who went to the games. It just was stupid that a box jump decided that. So, I stand on the ground that NorCal should not be a qualifier for the CrossFit Games. I just wanted to make everybody aware that there are other competitions that are just as bad as them that don't have that qualification, so we don't say anything about it. Wodapalooza used to give tickets to the games. They just don't anymore. So the last thing I want to kind of send you guys off with, as I can still smell the smoke from my wife's dinner or lunch, is I decided to break down season structures that CrossFit has used, and I made my own top 5 of what I think the best season structures have been in the past. So, number 5 would have been, and when I say a year, it's because back in the day, we actually did like a couple years the same way. So a lot of times the year I'm using is the last year it was in place. So number 5 is the 2010 sectional regional games. Back then there was no open. So you had to go to a local event that qualified you for regionals. Then you'd go to regionals, and that qualified you for the games. And it was very NorCal-ish. The sectionals were very NorCal-ish. They were out in the middle of a field. There was like just equipment thrown down, and it qualified you to the next level to go to regionals and then on to the CrossFit Games. Number 4, the 2019 Open Country Winners Sanctional Season. And that is when we opened it up to the entire world, where the Open was done. If you won your country, you got a ticket to the games. And then there were like 30 sanctionals. And if you were the top finisher that didn't already have a ticket to the games, you got an additional ticket. And we got like 150 people, men, 150 women. And it started off with this big event that did like cut in half. And then we went on with the weekend, doing cuts pretty regularly through the weekend. I did not agree with the cuts at the games being done so soon, where we had 2 days of just 10 athletes. But other than that, I didn't mind the season. And there was something charming about the Olympic style of the event. I don't think that is very sustainable year over year, but I think it would be a cool country winner derivation to do like every 4 years. Number 3, I'm going to say the 23-24 seasons that went from open to quarters to semifinals to the games, with CrossFit running the semifinals. In that last iteration, all of the workouts were the same in 24. So every semifinal event had the same workouts. Then, depending on the world rankings, the people at those semifinals either got 1, 2, 10, 12, 7 people to the games, depending on world rankings. I didn't care for the world ranking aspect of that too much, but I did like the way the season played out, because it was a very systematic open to quarterfinals to semifinals to the games. Very easy to understand, very easy to get there. My number 2 structure would be like 2018, which included like 2016, 17, 18. That was open, super regionals, CrossFit Games. I really liked that format. I thought it was good. I thought there were more people in attendance at those events because it was done in a systematic way. The teams were involved. Affiliates showed up in droves. I know I was at all of the ones that happened in Nashville, and they were packed. They were packed for the teams. They were packed for the individual. It was a really good event, and I really, really enjoyed that. And it actually was a slight derivation from my number one structure, which were like the previous 3 years. And I think that was like 12, 13, 14. And that was where we went from open to regionals to the CrossFit Games. Now, regionals, there were way more of. There were like twice as many regionals as there were super regionals. Super regionals combined 2 regionals all over the world. And so, like, there used to be a NorCal region and a SoCal region. They combined that into a super regional of just California. There was a like an Northeast and a Canadian East. Those got combined into one. Northwest, Canada West combined into one. So my favorite of all time were the smaller regionals that were were much closer. The regionals were smaller. The affiliates could really come in droves to support their teams and their individual athletes to those events. And I think at those events, you only got 2 or 3 to qualify to the games. It was tight competition. It was hard fought. Lots of people in attendance. Really, really good. So my top 5. Number 5, sectional regional games. Number 4, 2019 open country winners sanctionals games. Number 3, 23 and 24 open quarter semifinals games. 2018, number 2 is 2018 super regionals games, open super regionals games. And number 1 is like 2012, 13, 14, which was open regionals games. Those were my favorite season structures. If money was not an object, then the number 1 should be the way that we went. Now, I know that money probably is an object and is why we're not doing those things anymore, but that was such a great way for the season to unfold. And it also lent itself to better streaming continuity with other networks, like an ESPN. They could actually follow the season. They used to broadcast some of the regionals or super regionals before we got to the games. That's when things were really good. And when we got to 2018, when it was super regionals, they were doing it even more. CBS was actually in talks to do a super regional lead up to the games, one big broadcast, and it would have been freaking phenomenal. But then we got rid of our media department. We got rid of everything else and ended up where we are today. So hopefully the sale that is supposedly imminent happens soon, and we get an idea of what upcoming seasons may be and what kind of support the new ownership will put behind the competitive season and what their support for the affiliates looks like as well. Barry McCockiner says, did you watch the Hyrox broadcast last night? Really good. I've heard good things. I've been DM'd by a handful of people this morning to go watch it. So I'm going to go check out see if I can see it on YouTube in the rebroadcast. I've heard they did a really good job highlighting the athletes. But we'll see. I've heard great things. We'll see how it goes. And I will let you know Monday or Tuesday next week, depending on how much time the Last Chance Qualifier is going to take on Monday. Barry says it's on YouTube. They show the splits on the screen for row and ski. Nice. You know, a lot of people are dogging Rebel Renegade games for their broadcast, and most of it centers around the controversy in the last event with Evie Hollis's handstand push-ups, and that they didn't focus on that. But I watched a lot of the Rebel Renegade games, and I thought it was one of the better broadcasts. When they did the row, they had the pictures of the boats in every lane. You saw where everybody stood. You saw the row paces. That made that much more enjoyable to me than some of these other broadcasts. I heard on Around the Whiteboard them dog the Rebel Renegade games and say it was on the same level as the French Throwdown. There was not even a comparison between the two. Rebel Renegade games was so much better than French Throwdown. So much better. And it was a nice intimate floor. It was easy to see the field. You knew who was who. It just didn't have as many big names as some of the other ones. But I thought it was great. The actual quality of the broadcast was great. Craig says the Hyrox Elite races were great. Yeah, I'll go back and check it out. Lito says, I thought the Rebel Renegade games had an amazing broadcast. I agree. Craig said the same thing. So glad someone's in agreement with me, but yeah. Caleb said, is that a full sugar Dr. Pepper? It is not. It is 0 sugar Dr. Pepper. Peter, English Dream of French Throwdown was incredibly shit, truly. I don't disagree. I think you did the best you could with that, Peter. But what they gave you was not awesome. Having to watch on a TV set and try to commentate. Dubai tried that for years and it never ever worked out. Caleb, I don't even drink soda that often, but I'm having some allergy stuff with my throat, and I just needed the bubbles to kind of break it up. So yeah, zero sugar Dr. Pepper. I can't do the C4 stuff anymore because it messes with that heart thing I have with the AFib. So yeah. Well, with that, guys, next year I'm going to commentate it with my eyes closed so it's easier. I can see that. Just make it up as you go. Yeah. Caleb said make tea. If I would have had time, I just got out of a work meeting, came down to do this. So I just could grab what I could. Yeah, I'll probably even throw out the last half of this and do something like tea this afternoon. Because I think all my meetings got canceled for this afternoon. So I have some time to go up and just kind of chill. All right, guys. Time for you knuckleheads to get back to work. I'm going to do the same. I will talk to you guys all Sunday night for Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. I will break down the Last Chance Qualifier, what we know up till that point. We will see what if Carolyne is going to do it and how she's doing through it. We also have Jamie's MRI results on her hip. We'll probably talk about that a little bit. And then we'll talk about this impending sale or whatever else is going on and whatever else may come up this weekend. With that, guys, I'm going to go up and make sure my house is still intact and not still smoke ridden. Thank you for being patient through the fire alarm. We'll see everybody next time on Lunch with the Clydesdale. Bye, guys.